Okay, I'll do an intro and then I'll go to you. And I'll get out of your way. Okay, I'm not gonna be on the TV, that's fine. Okay. So we're very fortunate. He drove a long way, national championship game. Often, let's see. Keith began boxing, so he's in a tremendous amount of shape compared to me. While battling a chronic illness and developed a true passion for the sport. He's produced 5 Golden Glove champions, which is amazing.
At this point, it's a lot more, actually.
Oh, okay, well, you'll share that. And let's just say he's produced at least 5 more than I have. And trained pro boxers who fought on ESPN, Showtime, Telemundo, and probably a lot more. Prides himself on helping everyday people get in great shape when boxing, improve themselves mentally and physically. Is CEO of Keppner Boxing and Fitness. And I'll tell you, anybody who's CEO of any company, it blows me away. It's just an incredible amount of work. He's redefining the industry and transforming what people think a boxing gym is. His mission is to use boxing and fitness to positively impact people's lives in a safe and supportive environment. Keppner Boxing is quickly expanding through both company-owned and we'll talk franchise stores. He's a local radio personality. If that's not enough. 93.3, offering daily thoughts of encouragement and positive philosophy, and he hosts the show Hope each Saturday. And with that, I will hand it off to Keith. Thank you, Keith, for joining. It's truly a privilege. As I told Keith, we're trying to get this franchising class and the franchise, basically having a franchise program at KSU off the ground. You guys are first people for that, and we're fortunate that he's basically the Bill Murray on the first day of life.
Let me play off of you real quick, Jordan. You
Please.
were saying when I was in here that it's one of the most successful, I guess, like business formation concept, perhaps.
Yeah.
But think about how little you know about it, right? Or how much you've actually heard about it, heard about a lot of other things. So it's interesting that something that successful and that impactful, and literally, like, once I've gotten into franchising, y'all are naming franchises, I just see franchises all day long. You know what I mean? In terms of just when I go out in public, and use everything that you don't even think about as franchise, or have corporate or franchise options within their corporate stores. So anyway, there's something to be said for that. Something that's right in front of your eyes, it's everywhere, that is maybe underknown or underutilized. So, all right. Well, anyway, so with this format, Jordan, how do we roll?
Okay, so why don't you share? I'm happy to interview you if you have some prepared remarks.
I don't have anything prepared.
Okay, so my goal, and you'll see, is just basically to talk. So why don't you start from the beginning?
Yeah.
Share your personal background. How did you get started with boxing? And then I want to talk a little bit more philosophical.
Yeah. So I was born in Athens, Georgia, where UGA is, guys. I don't know how you feel about that, but it's what it is. It's a town with the best school in Georgia. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. Anyway, but the most known school in Georgia, University of Georgia. Anyway, I was just raised in that college town. I was into art, clay animation, stop motion, drawing, music, et cetera, et cetera. Athens is where REM and B-52 is from, if you guys have heard of those bands. And and then I started to have a lot of weird symptoms, started having anxiety, depression, initially, then I started having anxiety attacks, then I started losing weight over years, and then ended up having to drop out of high school after about completing 1 semester, and got a GED, and then and that kind of spiraled into me hanging out with a bunch of like towny people, traveler people, and drinking and whatnot, smoking weed every day, whatnot. And finally, thank God for my mom, she had me take a test for Lyme disease. And fortunately, it came back positive. And it was the happiest day of my life because it gave me an answer for what I was challenged by. At the time, I was about 125 pounds. To give you an idea, I'm about 170 now. So, I was getting pretty slim there. And I couldn't even like lift up this desk like this. I would carpal tunnel both my wrists, muscle spasms, sleeping 18 hours a day. And, we were filing for disability for me. And so anyway, when I had something to combat and a particular target to hit, something to overcome, I knew what was the challenge. Started to do treatment, antibiotic treatment. It can be pretty extensive. By the time I was still smoking a pack a day of cigarettes, I was still smoking weed every day, drinking and whatnot. And so here I am doing this treatment, but then also doing drugs. So I had to look at myself in the mirror and ask myself, do I really want to get better? And do I want to be, I'm 34 now, 35, turning 35 this year. Do I want to be basically where I am right now and say it's because of Lyme disease or because I didn't get my crap together to take care of my own life? So I got into boxing because my father was a professional boxing coach as well as a PhD in neuroscience. He's a clinical psychologist. And so a unique background there. And anyway, boxing is the fuel of diamonds in my own backyard. If you guys have heard of Forrest Griffin, he was a UFC champion. He actually won the first Ultimate Fighter show. He trained in my backyard under my father and his coaches who specialized in MMA, but he did his boxing work with my father. And so at first I wanted to do MMA, but then I started working with my dad and I fell in love with boxing. And to me, it was the antithesis of everything I was at the time, which was sickly and weak. And yeah, I fell in love with it. I wanted to be a champion, never got anywhere near that. Boxing United States and Mexico in 2010, actually July 4th, I got a neck injury in Mexico and interfered with my spinal cord and had to stop boxing and got into coaching subsequently very quickly after that.
So now is your father still around? Is he still?
No, he passed away in 2019 from prostate cancer.
Oh, so that's actually when my father passed away. And grandfather. Okay, so now you're 34 years old, 35 years old. It sounds like you've lived 12 lives. Talk to us about how you said, okay, I'm going to start a business.
Absolutely. So my only work experience is working at Subway restaurant. I worked there for 6 months. And at the time I didn't realize a basic concept, which was they told me after 6 months I would get a raise, right? But little did I know that in order to get paid more for what you do, you actually have to do more. You can't just do the bare minimum. You have to do that first before you get the reward. So anyway, I worked there for 6 months and I was like, well, my game with the raises kind of sucks. And then also subsequently, I got sicker and sicker to the point where again, eventually we were looking to file disability for me before finding an answer and a treatment for what was ailing me. So then anyway, that's my only experience with working, okay? When I stopped boxing, I had no life, no girlfriend, nothing. I lived with my parents in Mexico. My father was my boxing coach. I had no schooling, anything else. So what am I left to do? Start a business, right? So my father told me to utilize my gifts of coaching. And I've always, I love helping people and everything else. I consider even being a psychologist as well. Or being actually a constitutional lawyer as well, though it's a debate as well which way to go with that. But I used my experience of studying under my father to start coaching when I moved back up to Georgia and started training people out of the back of a little gym in Jefferson, Georgia. And then I met who would be my future wife and business partner, Lissa, and she managed a gym in Alpharetta, Georgia for about 9 years that, you know, did very well. And she kind of opened the door for me to realize, okay, I can do my passion of coaching and not be a struggling artist like all these other boxing coaches are. Essentially with boxing, if you don't produce a world champion, or even if you do produce a world champion, you know, you have to get a day job, right? Or you're gonna be living very meekly. So she kind of opened my eyes to me because all I grew up in was like basically just like ghetto boxing gyms, whether it was in Mexico or in the United States. And I thought that's all there was. And so she showed me another way. And her boss at the time, a great guy, who was a former sniper in the Marines, and he had PTSD as well as a drug problem. And it was a very toxic situation for her. She felt like she wasted all of her time working there. And I knew that she had a skill set that could benefit me greatly outside of being in love with her. And so it was the perfect fit. So I knew that with my coaching ability and everything else, and her attention to admin work, detail, et cetera, and knowledge base with running a gym, that we could make something work. So first I partnered with a different individual. That didn't work out. And I had to get out of that situation and open up my own business in 2013.
And let me dive into that a little bit, just because, you know, let me save that. Let's talk a little bit about the combination of you and your wife.
Yeah. So essential.
Well, two things that I see as essential that I'd love to for you to.
Sure.
First of all, it's having a partner and trying to understand what your innate capabilities are, what your innate capabilities are. And the toughest part is we always talk about, you've worked in a restaurant. One of the challenges of working in a restaurant is you have to have two incredibly different skill sets. The next time you see that GM in the restaurant, you'd love for that GM to general manager to be out there and talking to people and doing everything. But then the other side of the GM has got to know where every little crevice and piece of dirt is. And so you have this extrovert and this introvert. And if you even look at yourself, it's very rare. But it sounds like you found kind of a combination.
We absolutely, I'm the extrovert, even though I feel like I was a forced extrovert because I'm a utility. But I'm not good with details. She's excellent with details. And she's the type of person that would build a business that was super tight, super whatever, but it would be tiny. I'd grow a big business that would fall apart. So.
And so what do you do when there is something you all disagree about? Because you're coming at it from two totally different sides.
Yeah. You gotta hash it out. You gotta hash it out. And the thing of mutual respect for each other, of each other's assets and skill set, and something actually that I really thought about the other day is belief in each other. You know, we both met each other at a very low time in our lives. She was retired from fighting at the time and felt like she wasted 9 years of her life. And I was retired from fighting as well. And, you know, coming back from being sick and whatnot, didn't have much of a life. So it was perfect, but we both kind of saw something in each other that we believed in each other. So anyway, we both trust each other, that we're set on the mission, and the mission is to, you know, possibly impact people with our business and to grow our business. So as long as we know we're both on that track, we can disagree about everything, it doesn't matter. And we also know that we both have strengths that the other one doesn't have.
So now you're at the stage you've met, you say, you know, you're coaching people on the back of the back of the gym, you say, hey, we're going to do our own thing. Yeah. What was the precipice for that?
Well, so initially I said, I'm going to do my own thing. I said, I'm going to do my own thing. She didn't know at the time that she was going to be my business partner. And she told me, don't do it. She said, don't do it. Don't do it. You know, you're going to screw it up. You're not, this isn't going to work. You know,
that's good for a long-term marriage.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, but she was right though, because if she did not come to be my partner, I would have screwed it up. Right. Because for the first year of me having a business, I maybe had 30 clients, and I wasn't keeping track of my books, you know, and so you have 30 clients theoretically, but maybe get paid 15 of them, right? And yeah, so, and then it was a year of her telling me what I need to be doing, and then finally she's like, okay, I'll move up to Athens and start helping out. So.
And those of you who are in the class, those of you who are, we'll talk about the difference between sales and profit. And it's funny, it sounds pretty basic. Sales is what you sell. Profit is what you actually take home after all your costs. Well, the problem is you can't buy a car no matter what your sales are. It's what you get at the end of the day. So I've run into a lot of people, a lot of entrepreneurs. I'm selling a lot. Yeah, but are you making money?
Yeah,
well, I'm selling a lot. You know, and it's just a very different type of mentality as you guys figure things out.
Now let me distinct that though real quick,
Please.
Because something that I see many business owners not embrace, particularly being in Athens, Georgia. It's an artsy community, everything else. I come from an artsy background. Actually, my wife's a classically trained violinist as well. So I mean, we're both really into music and whatnot. But this is what I see though, not embracing sales. Business owners not embracing the benefit of becoming excellent at sales. And no matter how great your concept is, no matter how good you are, you can't sell it. You know, it's not going to sell itself. That is a lie. That is a misnomer. You won't be successful. I've seen it happen many times.
No, that makes perfect sense. So you decide to get into business and walk us through. How'd you start?
Yeah, so like I said, I was in a little partnership at the time with somebody else. It didn't work out, and I was worried about getting my stuff out of there. So I got my stuff out of there in the middle of the night and opened up my gym in this little office space, 1,200 square feet, so super, super tiny, and just paid the rent. And the rent was $800, and put a boxing ring and a bag rack in there. So we had like 8 bags and a boxing ring. Started the business, and I think I got a business license after I started.
And where did that initial capital come from?
My father gave me about $2,000.
And that's very common as friends and family.
Yeah.
That first. Okay, so you start the business, and what happens?
We'll just struggle. You know, and like many business owners, when they start a business, they don't focus on getting good enough at marketing or selling to scale fast enough. Because the biggest reason I believe that businesses fail is not being able to sell enough fast enough. And that's why scams can succeed for a period of time because they get really good at selling and marketing, but they don't have the actual service or value to back it up. So therefore it collapses on itself, where people can have really good service and value, but not sell it and market it, never grows.
And that's what Keith just brought up is one of the huge things in franchising. If you remember, a lot of concepts developed actually by a guy named Martin Sprock, who was incredibly successful with Moe's, but then had Peri Peri, and he had a salad concept, all these. It was all sales and marketing and flash, and you've never heard of any of the brands anymore. They're not around.
So there's something in the franchise world that happens a lot. Good thing to watch out for is people that get into it with the sole purpose of exiting their company. All right. So if I want to exit Keppner Boxing, I would do everything I could to sell a bunch of franchises. So therefore I have all those on my paper, on my FDD. And so now I got, 50 units, 100 units, and you can evaluate my business, and then I sell it to you. And I'm out, I get my money, and the whole concept is just trash and garbage. But I got a lot of people that sign on FDD.
The most famous of this chain is, if you've ever seen Quiznos. So I competed against Quiznos. We were in the sandwich game with our. Quiznos was selling left and right. We couldn't follow the money. When I was at McDonald's, the CEO of McDonald's had asked us to buy Krispy Kreme. Couldn't follow money. Money was, we knew they were selling products, and Krispy Kreme ended up going, the best, people say, what's the best deal I ever did? Not buying Krispy Kreme for, I think it was like $2 billion, because they ended up going bankrupt a year later, 2 years later. So how do you personally define business success? Money, freedom, influence, something else?
I looked at these questions before, so you guys know, and still don't have good answers for you. It's qualified by all of those, because if you don't have monetary success in the business, you don't have a business, you have a charity. If you don't have some type of significance in other people's lives, then you don't maybe have a true value of service. So it is a conglomerate of all those together. At least that's how I view it.
Do you think you kind of have a 5-year plan or a 3-year plan or 10-year plan, or just kind of going as it goes?
Oh, yeah, we definitely, we have a 5-year plan.
And what can you share?
Well, so, okay, we got to give you guys an interesting concept. So, like, for instance, talking about sales of franchises, when you guys start a business, or if you start a franchise or whatnot, anything you do, you have to realize that you are not going to be as good as everybody else at it. And if you approach it acting like you're going to be as good as everybody else from the get-go, you're going to fall on your face and fail. So therefore, the average out of 100 leads, it's 1 lead out of that becomes a deal. All right. So 1% conversion rate. It's pretty bad, but that's just how it is. All right. With the franchise world in terms of sales. So based off of 7 touches to a lead, which is honestly me being a little bit too optimistic, but 7 touches to a lead in order to convert them to a sale. All right. Just meaning 7 times I have to reach out to you, get a hold of you. All right. Times that times 2, I have to make 74 phone calls a day, 5 days a week, a month to make a deal a month. So that's what I do now, make 74 phone calls a day. Right.
That's
so
a lot of no.
That's a lot. Well, no, it's a lot of and it's a lot of just don't picking up. Right. Everyone's busy. Right. So, but if you keep on hitting them, you know what happens? Eventually, they might be, oh, I have a phone call. Hello. Then you talk to them, they're actually interested. Like, well, I called you 5 times, but it's like the key is to not act like I called you 5 times. Anyway, answer to the 5-year plan. I want 500 franchise units. Are we going to do 500 franchise units? Maybe not. But by me working my ass off to do 500 franchise units, I'll do 100. I'll do maybe 200. Okay. Because if I approach it like, oh, I want to do 50 in the next 5 years, I'll end up with 20. You know what I mean? Because I'm going to overestimate the effectiveness of my effort. Does that make sense to everybody?
But it's got to be tough to listen to and be told no all the time, or does it just kind of bounce off?
Well, you know what? That's a great question. If you freaking believe in it, it's not tough, right? And also, the fact of the matter is, if you call me up, I'm going to say no, even if it's something that would make sense. Because I've said no to so many people that have sold me. Okay, a marketing agency, one of the best in the world that works with us. I said no to them many times. So, and I finally said yes. I was happy I did. If they wouldn't have followed up with me, I wouldn't have. Or my wife, who broke up with me and I had to pursue her for 1.5 years. If I would have accepted that, I want to have my wife and mother of my beautiful daughter and business partner and everything else. So I remind myself of those things. You have to remind yourself of those things sometimes, but it has to be a mission bigger than yourself. And also you keeping your word to yourself and your commitment. Also as well, when you look at yourself at the end of your life, are you going to not succeed because you didn't want to make 74 phone calls and get told no? Like, is that really a worthwhile excuse for not succeeding? Not really.
I've also heard, probably my problem with it, but it's interesting what you said, that you went into it knowing you're not going to be the best. There's a lot of people who say, well, if I'm not going to be the best, I'm not going to try.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I see that with boxers, by the way, athletes. So people that, and this is what I tell my coaches for our Athens location. People that come in talking a big game, people that come in expecting to be decent, never end up being truly decent or good. Okay. Like all the, like this year, or excuse me, we're in a new year, 2021, we produced 2 Golden Glove champions. Both of those people came in and said, I'm going to see how I do. I'm gonna work my butt off. I'm gonna see how I do. I want to maybe fight, things like that. That's what I want to do, but I'm gonna see how I do. All right. By putting in the effort. They're not like, I'm gonna be a champion or like whatnot. Also, too, when you're too good at something, you're cursed. You come in, everything's easy. This thing gets hard. You think it's something wrong with you. It's not something wrong with you. It's just, oh crap, this is the next level. It gets hard again. Then you gotta get good at that level. So.
You think that if you said this, that you weren't a champion boxer, and you were many levels below.
Absolutely.
But do you think if you were doing what you're doing now would be harder to teach people?
Yes, absolutely. My father shared the same opinion, coaching people for 50 years with boxing, that people that are really good, like for instance, name me a great boxer. Anybody? Tyson. How many great fighters did he coach? 0. Right? 0. Muhammad Ali, nobody. Sugar Robinson, the greatest fighter in the history of combat sports, nobody. Okay, because it's this thing of that they can do it, but doesn't mean they know how to explain it or get someone else to do it. Also, just to off on a tangent, being a great athlete is about being selfish. Being a great coach is the opposite of that. All right, so it doesn't mean you can't be one and do the other, but it's something that I see. Great athletes are selfish, and that's why they succeed. And also, by the way, being a great business person and being a great leader, sometimes you have to be selfish. You have to say no to a lot of things to say yes to the things that really matter. Right, they're actually going to affect most people.
That's really interesting. Who's you kind of stayed on Sugar Ray for a second. Who's your favorite fighter and why?
My personal favorite fighter? So when I boxed, probably Joe Frazier. All right, because Joe Frazier's style was grinding you. And also I love the left hook for some reason. I'm right-handed, it just is what it is, but I love my left hook. It landed all the time. And yeah, I just love Joe Frazier. And also that just like courage of nonstop pressure moving forward, which is exemplified by how I choose to live my life. And so
now he was in the shadow of Ali.
True.
And in many ways even worse than that. Does that have any reflection, or that's not part of it?
Well, he's the first guy to beat Ali as a professional. And arguably in his 3 fights, if you watch him, he won the second one. Not technically, but it was, I think, close. I think he won it. But anyway, the last fight, I got an interesting story for you guys. Might find interesting. So the last fight, the Thrilla in Manila, it was a 15-round fight. It's back when they did 15. Now they only do 12. So Frazier had a cataract in one eye. The way he got past the eye exam was they said, cover one eye, read off a piece of paper. Cover the other eye, read off a piece of paper. Okay, that's how I got past the eye exam. So then he's in there with one eye. All right. And of course, Ali, he's getting older. He's getting beat up a lot as well at that time in his career. He fought way past his prime. Anyway, so they're fighting each other 10 a.m. in the Philippines. Okay. And it's like 100% humidity, it's over 100 degrees. Anyway, end of round 14, Ali's in the other corner telling Angelo Dundee, cut my gloves off, I'm done. Okay. One of the greatest fighters in the history of the sport says, I'm done, I'm exhausted. Okay. Frazier on the other side, his coach, Eddie Fudge, one of the greatest boxers in history of boxing, says it's over for Frazier because he knows that one eye was swollen shut and the other eye was his bad eye. So he's blind. And he wasn't going to let his guy come out for one more round. So literally, the coach of Frazier stopping the fight, and Ali's telling Angelo Dundee, I'm done, quit. Okay? If Eddie Fudge wouldn't have called it, it would have been called from Ali quitting. Okay? But Eddie Fudge's coach, Eddie Fudge called it for Frazier, and Ali got the win. If you watch that at the end, just to make sure I'm not a liar, Ali stands up to hold his hand up, then he immediately looks back down and takes a seat. The dude can't stand up anymore. It's awesome. But that's also why he's a true champion, because he's literally ready to fight to the point of death. Same thing with Frazier. But anyway, so the attitude of that, he's gonna go out there and freaking, die on a shield. And it's the job of a great coach to make sure you don't do that, but it's your job as an athlete to do that. But to have someone you trust to protect you.
And that story is also reflective of almost most business negotiations.
Yeah.
You may need
Right.
that piece of real estate. Okay, you need it. You've already promised your investors that you're building on that site, but you want to get it for the best price. Well, the landlord there, he may be in a situation where if he doesn't get cash for that site today, his whole business is going bankrupt. But you don't know that. And you may think, I need it, I'll pay whatever I want. But the landlord sitting there, he needs you. Right? And you just don't know. And it's often why if you ever, and I know some of y'all are looking for jobs, when you're negotiating salary, it's the same thing. If you throw out your point of view first, and sometimes you have to, but if you throw out your point of view first, you're often in a worse situation.
There's a saying in sales real quick that we teach our people. It's that person talks first loses. So you can give out too much information too quick. And
So when you decided to become a business owner, but you didn't decide to become a franchisee day one, or did you?
no, absolutely not. Yeah, when I did business, started business the same way my father did his practice for clinical psychology, which was, as he called it, golden handcuffs. When he went on a vacation for 2 weeks, he lost half his business. That type of business. Totally dependent on you. And a lot of our clients and stuff that now, went on and, went to the workforce and whatnot, from University of Georgia and whatnot, they would say, oh man, like they would tell me like, oh man, this business is so great, Keith. Too bad it's all just because you coach it all, And so my business was truly based and wrapped and built around me, but that's actually really selfish. And so that's where I had to step aside my ego and realize that if I actually want to have something that's truly endearing and can impact the most people as possible, as well as not be completely bottlenecked by me, we have to scale it. So when we had our daughter 4 or 5 years ago, she'll be 5 actually this Friday. My wife started stepping out of the business and systematizing her end. Then I started stepping out, systematizing my end, and then actually thank God in terms of our business for 2020, because that was the final cut where I stepped out all the way out of coaching in my business.
And so what takes up is most of your time on the franchising side?
Yeah, the vast majority. So this is kind of my franchise pitch, but I make over 6 figures a year with our location by working 5 hours a week or less on the location. And it's one of those things too that in terms of franchising is that like we could just sit pretty and it's not like we make like $800,000 a year, but it's 6 figures and kind of just chill, right? And do whatever you want, working 5 hours a week is what it is. But what are you gonna do? Like, what's the next step? Die? No.
Teach at KSU.
Teach at KSU? Maybe. I tell you though, my father's a professor of psychology and also inferential statistics. And even though he loved teaching, there's a lot of other things. For instance, one thing is that like when you own your own business, right, whether it's your franchise business or your single one-off business, is you're the leader, you're the boss. And failure to lead, you're going to be subjected to be led by someone inferior to yourself. All right. So if you've ever been in a position where you said, man, the boss sucks, man, management sucks, these people suck, they're stupid, they're ignorant, whatever. Well, that's the price you got to pay for failure to lead.
What, so you decide you're going to do franchise.
Yeah.
You said you do nothing about franchising when you decided to do it.
Yep, absolutely.
So
And it was actually this book that made us change our minds, actually, or like decide.
So
Yeah, for real. This is it. Yeah. So we read this book in about beginning 2019. Okay. And we're looking at corporate locations or we're looking at franchise locations. And finally, this book is what made us feel like we had a base understanding of it to step into it.
Well, see, it's a good choice.
So let me tell you, so I literally can barely divide, I can barely multiply, I can add and subtract. Okay. Again, I have no education besides self-education. I've read more than 20 books a year for multiple years on every subject that's applicable to me. So it's giving me a head up in a way because I literally only read about things that can possibly impact me and what I'm doing or the people around me. All right. So therefore, again, I read a few other books on franchise. I read a few of the books about like specifically during that year. I think of another book that impacted me greatly was Sam Walton's autobiography. It's actually a combination of autobiography and other people's accounts of Sam. And you familiar with the book?
A little bit.
Made in America.
Yes.
And it's excellent. And that's what sold me on like, oh, I need to secret shop all of our competitors. So I went and secret shop all of our competitors, even like not direct competitors even. So Orange Theory, just anything in the fitness area that was very successful. And it really, again, helped me determine, okay, where are our holes? Where are we missing it? Where do we need to steal that idea and put it into what we do and keep our essence?
So what did you learn when you were secret shop about some of those competitors?
Well, man, I mean, it's so much. It's so much. Well, for instance, one of my buddies managed this one. Well, I'll say what it is now, actually. But you guys familiar with 9 Round? It's actually one down the street. And so one of my buddies managed 9 Round up in South Carolina. So Lisa and I, my wife, went up there, spent a day with him, unbeknownst to the owner, and just hung out in the 9 Round, looked at all their, and we took how they presented their memberships. They had a nice sheet of paper that had it laid out right there for you. And there's a lot of little things like that, which were just excellent, which I think we're just missing. We're just missing little details. They kind of help streamline the process. And then now what's funny is that our director of franchise operations, Justin Hammerstrom, he was number 3 at 9 Round from 2014 to 2017. So he took it from 40 units to 600 units. Now he's our director of franchise operations. So at that time, I was secret shopping his business. Right?
And then how did you get him to join you?
I actually met him so I met this dude at the Franchise Expo in Atlanta. I actually met Justin at the one back in 2020.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
It's the one show that goes COVID or not.
Oh, yeah, goes whatever.
That's exactly right. So, okay, so you're in the store, you decide you're going to franchise, then what? Because right now it's still an idea.
Yeah, it's just an idea. And so then basically the beginning of 2020, or in the end of 2019, so December and then January, started calling up a whole bunch of franchise development groups to determine who would be the best group to work with. And spoke with some other franchisors, spoke with some people that said, hell no, you should not franchise in any way, shape, or form, or you should only do it when you have, X number of corporate stores and can demonstrate X amount of profit. And anyway, after going through the majority of the evidence available, and we picked FMS, which is a company in actually Alpharetta, Georgia, again. And they helped us, or they wrote our FDD for us, helped us put together our manuals. We had put together a lot of our operational systems, but they helped us put the finishing touches on it all.
And the FDD is a circular we'll talk about. It's something required in franchising, basically tells the whole story about the business. And then with the, it's interesting because the traditional thought is don't franchise till you have a number of stores.
Yeah. But
you went against that. You
Yeah.
said, you know what, I'm gonna see what happens. Subway did too. They took out okay.
And they could have been even better if they hadn't messed up towards the end, right?
Yes, well, they're still, they'll be back.
Yeah, okay. Oh, they might be.
See,
I got nothing against them, so.
We'll talk, but when you lose leadership, so the CEO passed away,
Mm.
when you lose leadership, you lose the company off. At least it fades away for a little bit. Okay, so you're right now decide you're gonna franchise, you get all the docs. During the process, are you frustrated? Are you excited? Are you a combination of both? I mean, you haven't done anything yet, and just money is going out the table, out the door to all these different types of advisors and that type of thing.
Yeah, well, one thing as well is, you gotta be smart about what you do with your money, because if you don't have, life is all about being resourceful. So whether that's with time, with people, or with money, and too often people with money throw money at it and try to fix it. People without money have to find other ways to do it. So, we're not independently wealthy or, have so much money to just throw it at random crap. So it was just a lot of work and a lot of reading. I stopped reading so many books because you're reading hundreds of pages of documents, because the FDD itself is like over 100. And so then we were developing, and then COVID hit. We stayed on track for development, and then made it available in the marketplace in August of 2020.
And all this was started with an original capital amount of $2,000.
Yeah, correct.
Did you get more from more people, or was it all self-funded since then?
It was also, yeah.
So the people, I know I was asked a question early on, where do I get the capital for this? The thing with franchising is, if you think big, you can still start small, and your goal is to scale fast. So what was the most difficult thing about when you opened your first gym? And then what was the most difficult thing about opening your first franchise gym?
So with the boxing industry, it's a unique one because actually similar to fast food industry in the 50s. I'm actually reading a book about Ray Kroc and whatnot right now, where just like fast food was then, boxing gyms are not considered family-oriented places. They're dirty, dingy, scary, typically, particularly if they have legitimate boxing. Now, if you're a 9-round, obviously that's more fitness-oriented or only fitness-oriented, excuse me. And they've really mastered the appeal of being a very watered-down form of boxing and kickboxing exercise. But if you're anything with actual competitors, then there's all of the rocky connotations that people might have with boxing. And so overcoming that, and also frankly figuring out what I wanted to do, because when I started the business, I wanted to produce world champions. But then I realized if I was going to do that, I had to make a business that worked in order to support myself. And in the process of doing that, I fell in love with the business. So the biggest challenges were just kind of formulating the culture and everything else to what we really could get behind and wanted to work in. And one way that I kind of synthesize our business is always want to make sure I had a place where our daughter, when she's older, could feel comfortable in, so there's not any of that type of just weird crap that goes on in gyms, all that stuff.
So how would you describe the culture of the company?
Well, so we have, could that be represented by our core principles, you think, Jordan? Or
Absolutely.
okay, so
Usually very representative.
yeah, so and a lot of this sounds like overly cookie cutter, but it's all about how you actualize it. So a community where everyone knows your name, supports your success. Out of 350 plus clients, we know everybody's name when it comes to the door, and they're all addressed by name. Excellence in service, excellence in coaching, and excellence in everything. And now excellence, though, doesn't mean you're the best or you're perfect, right? Is excellence, guys, a place you ever arrive at, you think? You ever arrive at excellence? You think? You're right, you don't. But I used to get really frustrated because I would think I could be excellent, and I realized, oh crap, I still got stuff to work on. It's more like a guiding star than this short you will arrive at, right? So going in the direction of trying to have excellence, you'll achieve better than if you did. And then PSP, positive, sincere, and professional. So we always want to be positive with our clientele and our staff and our team, but we also want to be sincere, so not false positivity. And then also be professional, because you can have those two things, but not be very professional. And then last one is growth every situation, as I experienced in my life, but with our business as well, as an opportunity to become better and step forward. And so same thing with COVID, same with everything else, it's an opportunity. No matter how much you like it or don't like it, it's not a negative or a positive.
So how is having a franchise store different than running your own store?
Well, so before we started franchising, I was coaching some other business owners. So it's essentially like that. And I like to call it, and sorry, it has a sex put behind it, but big boy business. So because you're dealing with economies of scale, you're working on finding the best providers for your franchise partners, and you're having people, instead of spending $450 on something, they're spending $450,000 on something. So that's how it's different. It's just bigger numbers, a more complex buying scenario where the sales process, instead of me scheduling you to come and try a session and then you like it or you don't and you sign up, with an FDD, if I were to sell Jordan on a franchise, I have to provide him the FDD, and he cannot pay me money or sign it until 2 weeks after it's disclosed to him. And then obviously that sales process is large. It's about 6-month sales process we found. So it's different than a week or a day
Or a minute.
or a minute.
If you were speaking to your younger self, what would you tell yourself to do the same, keep doing that, or do differently?
Everything exactly the same, except market more and become better at sales faster. And embrace that, because like many people, like maybe how you guys might feel about sales, is it sleazy, things like that. But really, Ethical sales is just effective communication. And the people that, it's funny, I was actually talking to one of my fighters who I moved him along, but right now he's 7-0 as a pro, Kevius Bowens. And I remember this was back when I was really starting to embrace sales back in about 2016. And he said something about sales or something like, oh man, I wouldn't want to be a salesman or whatever. And I was like, man, I was like, what you're thinking of a sales guy is a low quality salesperson. You know, you're thinking of the used car salesman, someone's selling you some crap, right? I'm like, you know, what about your doctor? What about your teacher? You know, what about anything, your mother, right? They're a salesperson too, you know, but they're selling you something that hopefully is going to help you and they actually believe it, right? Or heck, like with smartphones, right? Like the whole thing about whoever it is that, like on the dude's name, the guy that passed away from cancer.
Jobs.
Yeah, Jobs, selling people on, you know, different technologies, things like that. He was selling you just like the car salesman, except it was something that actually benefited you. And he did it a little bit more elegantly and ethically, perhaps.
There's somebody here who's really focused on social media. How do you incorporate that in your business today?
How do we incorporate social media into our business today? Well, we have a checklist for our team. So we post about 2 or 3 times a day, automatic. That's part of our franchise system, which is a little bit different than some other franchises. So it's a checklist that gives them a basic criteria. And I get a lot of my franchise leads through Facebook marketing and a lot of our business leads. We get about 150 leads a month from Instagram and Facebook for a location. And then I get probably about 40 leads a month for the franchise opportunity from Instagram and Facebook. That's how we utilize that largely.
And do you film a lot? Do you do a lot of personal videos and that type of thing and put them out there? Or?
Yeah. And then another aspect of that is LinkedIn. Are you guys on LinkedIn? So work it, right? If you want a good job, if you want a good whatever partnership, what have you, work it because we've made a lot of excellent connections that way. And some of the best advice I've been given over the past year, Justin actually told me is, dude, like work that. So I become very active on that and that's very beneficial. And it's super cool because it's not as restricted or as weird with its algorithm as Facebook is, or even Instagram. So therefore, let me give you a little tip. If you go through and like a whole bunch of people's stuff and comment and interact and then post, you know what I'm talking about, people will see it. It will pop up. Versus Facebook, it's like, dude, like for like 2 weeks, like nothing of my stuff seemed to be getting reception by anyone. And my mom's even like, I can't even see anything on your Facebook. So, yeah, it's just fun.
No, that's fair.
LinkedIn is awesome.
And then how do you push through? I mean, you went through COVID, all this other type of things. How do you push through the worst times?
Yeah, well, by remembering that that it is all an opportunity to be better, right? And it's like Maslow said, which is kind of where we borrowed our growth core value from, is that every situation is an opportunity to step forward into growth or backwards into safety. And something as well that impacted me greatly, this is not an original thought, is that I'm not sure what to believe about after your life and what happens, but simply the thought, the utility of the thought that at the end of your life, what if you met your actualized potential, what you actually were capable of, if you actually just showed up 100%, no matter what happened, no matter what, you know, horrible pandemic or economic crisis or whatever. And what if you met that person and they're nothing like you, right? So what if I met the person that never stopped smoking weed every day and drinking every day and everything else and didn't overcome Lyme disease? I want to beat the person in my life that is my actualized potential and them to be, you're just like me, not a stranger. And I saw my father pass away with unactualized potential, even though he actualized so many of his goals in his life. He still had a goal of, for instance, he had a goal of he wanted to be world champion. He never did that. And he tried to almost lie to himself. He embraced Buddhism a lot for his last 20 years to try to just stop striving. That's not his nature. It's not who he was. And it's like actually Ted Turner and his father. You know the story about his father?
I don't.
Okay, his father committed suicide. And his father said, son, the biggest, disappointment of his life or whatever was that, is it not if you achieve your goals or not, but setting them too low and achieving them. So, and it's like with our business, when we got it structured up and everything else before we started franchising, my wife and I had bought a house, everything else, we have a beautiful daughter, our business is operating largely without us. I started getting really depressed. You know, what do you got left? You got to keep on challenging yourself. And you got to remember, whether you lose a loved one, whether you lose a function of your body, whether you get sick, the most horrible things that happen to you, to realize that other horrible things have happened to other people in the world and in the history of the world. And if you're ever questioning yourself if this is a reason to quit or stop or give up, look and see if you can find anyone else who's dealt with worse and succeeded more. If you can find that, then it's an excuse and you need to work through it. And you can do it. And that shows that it's possible and that you are possible.
Great, and it's a great way to end this. Keith, I can't thank you enough for your time. I really appreciate it. I'd love to open it up. I hope we have at least a few questions from the crowd.
Oh, yes, come on. Please question people. I love
I have
questions.
a quick question.
Ask me a hard question.
So when you're trying to find people to franchise your business, how do you choose that they're the right person and they can do a good job?
That's a great question. So touching on something I heard Jordan talking about, man, people from anywhere. So like our franchisee in Florida, Ron, he's from the Philippines. He's a physical therapist, which makes you think like, oh, physical therapy, maybe I can connect to fitness one up, but like, not really, it's really different. This sounds really funny. Number one, like if I'm talking to you as a franchise prospect, number one, no matter how great of a fit you are, if you don't have the money to do it or the way to get the money to do it, you don't have decent credit or at least $30,000, $50,000 in cash, it ain't gonna happen. So it's not even me worth wasting your time or my time to talk, all right? So once that's out of the way, then we're essentially gonna start talking about what are your character traits, what are your values, and does that resonate with us? And if that does resonate with us, we're probably gonna resonate with you, or if it resonates with you, we'll resonate back and forth. So basically, somebody who wants to, who values health and fitness, right? And an ethical person. And those kind of things together are super broad, but it can fit into the mold. And that's something too with business. It's so easy to do. I've noticed this with team members, like for our athlete location, we have about 10 team members, about 5 coaches and 5 front desk staff. And is that it's really easy to try to cookie cutter what you think is your best person or best type of person or avatar, but you need to go out there and really experience it. And you realize, man, my avatar is a lot of different things. So some of our team members, for instance, on a team level side, that I thought were not going to make it were great. Our head coach right now, Maura, I mean, I say right now, like it's temporary. She's been our head coach for a long time. She's with us for 6 years. But when she went through our coaching program, if you were to ask me out of the 6 people that did it, who was going to succeed, I was like, definitely not her. And she's the best. And she's actually working on the franchise now, supporting the coaches for the franchise system. So, I don't know if that answered your question.
So I know like when you're looking like for new franchisees, like you have like core values that needs to be within the business. But I know like with new people coming in, they definitely have new ideas and stuff.
Yeah.
So does that ever like clash?
That's a great question. So that actually relates to, it's funny because this is a McDonald's. McDonald's is such an old company now that it's like so tainted in public perception of like, oh, that's just sterile and nothing. But something they did excellently was enforce systems and procedures while also really encouraging the entrepreneurial spirit. And that's something that reason I didn't touch on of why I want to get into franchising is because I don't think I have all the answers or my team has all the answers or whatever. And so I want a whole bunch of people in our system that understand the concept, understand how to work the fundamentals of the business, but then can also offer their perspectives and advice. And just the difference with that is that you just have to get that approved. But so far, there haven't been that many. Well, there's been actually a couple. Ron, actually, because Ron, he had 50 franchise units in the Philippines for a physical therapy concept that he started. So he's had a lot of like, hey, well, how can we do it this way? And so I've been very receptive of those things. But it's a great benefit. And so it's like the mastermind group, right? Because that's actually where, just to talk bad on video about 9-round, which is a great concept, but something that I know their leadership really struggled with was that because they've had the concept for 11 years and they've barely changed anything. And this is one reason, that people told me people leave the company is that Do that. I think that's the ego getting in the way, right? Great question. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
bro.
hope this makes sense. I'm
Please.
from Forsyth County and we have two Chick-fil-A's within 2 miles.
Yeah.
They both produce the same food, but the experience at both of them are completely different.
Really?
One of them
With
is,
Chick-fil-A? I mean, I believe it. I'm not doubting you. I'm just saying.
one of them I could drive to the other one, get food before I get at that one.
Wow.
So as you mentioned, you're trying to grow by up to
Sorry, I used to work at Chick-fil-A. I'm
You're
like,
good.
You're like, oh my God.
As you're trying to grow to that 500 stores plus
Absolutely.
over the next 5 years, how are you going to make sure your stores have that same experience and they feel like they are the same store and same brand?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it is an example of at scale, mess ups are magnified, right? So I 100% believe that that's the situation. Now the question is what percentage of stores are like that for the Chick-fil-A model, for instance. That's something that you do your best to not let happen, but how you overcome that is by having good field consultants who make sure everything's running. And that's something that I look forward to growing with our systems and scale. So for instance, I did a field visit because I'm the field consultant for our franchisee in Loganville, Georgia. And it was an excellent opportunity for me to just kind of what you're saying, like rate a couple of the systems, things like that. How do you do that? It's simply, sounds like a big word, but enforcement. Which Chick-fil-A is supposed to be pretty good about, so that's pretty shocking. What do you think, just from the outside? Does it seem like their team is just not too hot, or what do you think?
So in that experience, I think it's the team and it's slightly an older building,
Oh,
but it's still newer.
Hmm.
But I also think the person in charge is just different at both of them.
Yeah.
You can see the other operator actually coming to the restaurant, being involved versus the other store, you never see them.
yeah,
And they don't have any of the staff that you come out, they would start recognizing you. It's just more so like McDonald's or other restaurants.
Yeah.
It's totally different than any other Chick-fil-A.
how long has it been like that?
At least probably since I was in middle school or high school.
Yeah,
Isn't it funny to talk about a chain where you're talking about the one store that doesn't operate well?
well, hey, that is a great phrase. That is very true. That is very
That's what
true.
they've been able to do. It's crazy. I'm, you know, it blows me away.
Well, you know, what's funny is that, so Chick-fil-A is honestly, because it's like such a winner, right? So it's easy to be like, yeah, we're like this winner and this other winner. But, you know, we want to be the Chick-fil-A of boxing. And that's what we want to be. And
sorry, okay,
Oh,
that
shoot it out, bring it on.
phrase is just like
Bring it.
crazy to me. So I used to work for a pool company. I worked for them for like 6-7 years. I was like a manager for them and everything, and they started like branching out the same way where they were like, okay, we're gonna start changing
you want to be
things.
Chick-fil-A of
And the
bulls.
Chick-fil-A of the pool company.
Ah,
But like,
yeah.
how have you felt about delegating? Like, how have you dealt with that? 'Cause you
Yeah.
just don't strike me as the type to delegate easily.
Well, that's
At least from what I've heard.
well, and hey, so what's your name real quick?
Right now.
Lorena, so yeah, absolutely. I used to suck at it so hard. And I used to be the biggest type A asshole. But I learned how to not do that. And again, kind of almost addressing what you're saying, realize that mess ups are going to happen and that's part of the process. You know, the thing is does someone learn from the mess up? What's their intention? You know, a big thing with management that I've learned over the past few years, which has helped a lot with that, is never try to guess people's intentions because you're always freaking wrong. Always freaking wrong. And you've got to address actions. Hey, we need this a little bit different. This is how we're going to do it. And this is why we're going to do it like that. And never guess their intentions. So, yeah. And now again, though, to touch on your point, though, how many people set out to start a business and fail? Almost everybody, right? So how many people set out to start a franchise? There's about 3,000 registered franchises or more, something in that ballpark. And how many of you ever heard of them? It's like barely anyone. So, you know, again, this is all fanciful stuff, but the thing is, are people willing to do the work and also be introspective enough to succeed? Maybe that might touch on your experience. Maybe leadership, right? Challenges?
Yeah, it's It's weird.
A lot of things.
Yeah, like when you work as an employee and when you work as a manager, you start to see all the flaws and gaps in your management. So it's a lot more difficult to be an employee and not a boss
No,
or like a
absolutely.
leader.
No, absolutely. That's the worst place to be,
Mhm.
because you're in the middle. I completely understand. So someone who I mentor who has a personal training business that he's done really well with, he was middle management for a big gym, and he said it was just horrible. And so, yeah, it's a really special relationship that you have to work. And yeah, it's a big challenge. One thing though, so like the first employee we had who was full-time, we call them team members, just like Chick-fil-A. But the first one that we had was full-time, Marcel. I remember he finally told me about something that I was messing up with, because again, I was really crappy in the beginning as a manager, 'cause I had no experience, And so, yeah, so anyway, he was like, hey Keith, like, can I tell you about this thing? I'm like, okay, so he told me about it. I can't remember what it was now, a while ago. And he's like, yeah, I've been wanting to tell you about it. I'm like, dude, Marcel, I'm like, please, you have to tell me about this stuff as fast as you freaking can, because in Athens, Georgia, this is what I've experienced. So many business owners, their business falls apart, it collapses, or it just frankly sucks because they have a story, and the story protects their ego. So it is, oh, I couldn't find good people. We're in a college town. College kids suck, this, that, right? There's different stories they can give for why they're not successful, where really they're probably the main thing. Like or it's like the person goes from job to job, like, oh, that place sucked, that place sucked. It's like, well, really, you suck, but you just went from job to job, right? So that's the thing. So I told him, hey, and I was part of me committing to myself. I told him, I don't want to be that person. I don't want to have a story 10 years from now. Keppner Boxing failed, and it was because of this, that, and the other thing. It's going to either be because it was me, or it's going to succeed because I sucked it up and, let my ego step aside. So, yeah. Yeah, and that's another thing about Books by its cover, right? Is that one thing very important to realize, you guys already know this, but just to remind yourself of this, when you go to work for a business or when you go to start your own business and hire people, what have you, is it doesn't matter how good they interview, right? Whether it's you hiring someone or you getting hired by somebody, right? Everyone has their best foot forward, everything else. And it's really funny. Like with us, when we hire, I always check references. And the one time I didn't listen to a reference is because I didn't respect the reference, and they were 100% right. Like, I wish I wouldn't have hired that person. You know what I mean? So let me ask you guys this. Who here wants to eventually work for a business in like a C-suite or start a business? Everybody? Yeah? Out in the back? Oh, yeah, so C-suite, meaning you're on the executive team, or start a business?
I'm still in the middle. Still
And
thinking.
you're, yeah? Okay, cool. All right, awesome. Who wants to start a business? Boom. Cool, awesome. Let me tell you guys, in my opinion, that's would be about one of the only ways to succeed in the future. Okay, because it's not like how it used to be. Jordan's a little bit older than me, no offense. But
32.
I should have laughed, right? But it's because you got the gray beard. That's what gives it away.
No, I wish. 20 years ago, I was 32.
If you shave like me, we look like the exact same age.
Well, I gotta hide stuff.
Anyway, though, we don't have the big businesses anymore with the big pensions anymore. There's not the stability in the marketplace. So really, at least in my opinion, the only way to combat that is to be as good of a business owner, entrepreneur, or even an entrepreneur as you can, meaning you're kind of like, C-suite up there, really working excellently within a business. And then last thing I want to say is that build your skills, and you'll be amazed how a variety of skills can apply to a variety of situations. My passion for video and stop motion animation, et cetera, that has assisted me so much in the social media age, because I can edit stuff if I need to. And then, just all those different skills, arts and everything else. Because one thing too, when you start your own business, I believe you do have to develop a level of competency in all areas. Because if you don't, you won't know who's crap, right? And you also won't know who's going to rip you off. Because if you don't know, like I get marketing calls all the time from agencies that want to market for us. And if I didn't know anything about marketing, I would, maybe waste a lot more money with these people. It's funny. I got rid of a marketing company we were using for our franchise, started doing the marketing myself, which is pretty easy. It takes like an hour a week to monitor it. And yeah, we get like 10 times more leads than they were getting us. We were paying them $500 a month for just the service, not the ad spend.
Yeah, this was awesome. I can't thank you enough. I can't thank you enough for driving all the way out here.
I hope it was a benefit. I hope it was a benefit.
Oh, I think it was.
And again, is it inspiring? And I'm not looking, again, for my ego to be struck by this, but if I had Lyme disease, dropped out of high school, everything else, and succeeded, you know, I mean, I have some level of success. I'm not a Jeff Bezos or any of those dudes or gals like Sarah Blakely, not Sarah Blakely either, even though I look like her. If I can do it, you can do it too, if you want to do it. The thing is, you gotta ask yourself, do you want to do it? And like, I go back to my effort thing, you know, what price you willing to pay? Because you will get what you want from being a business owner or even working for the right business if you pay the price. And that's what's important to remember.
Thank
Wow,
you so
thought.
much. I have a little gift from KSU.
Yeah.
Get you on the way.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? We take the class.
Right, right.
I really appreciate it.
I appreciate it, Jordan. Thank you so much, brother.
Thank you.
All right, guys. I appreciate you guys. Thank you all.
People who need QR codes for some of you, if you're with a couple clubs.
By the way, follow us on Instagram, guys. Keppner Boxing Athens or Loganville or wherever. Keppner Boxing Athens is the one I own, the original.
How do you spell it?
Kepp. Keppner. Kepp. What's on the QR code?
I don't know, something that one of the classes.
for
had
Musa.
that did.
For what?
It's for like so Coles makes us take 3 like Musa classes. It's like your path to success. So they make us go to like career fairs and talks and
Okay.
do TED Talks, like read TED Talks,
Yeah.
write articles.
That's what you credit.
Supposed to help us
Too
to
much.
get jobs.
Yeah, it's supposed to help us be able to get jobs, allegedly.
Well, you all want to get jobs. You want to start business, right? Hey, all right. Anyway, guys, thanks. Good to see y'all.
And I think there's at least a couple of you. Here's the sales pitch for the class. This is what we do. We just talk. And if you're thinking about starting a business, we're going to talk a lot about that. I've built 2 incubators. I've been fortunate to help build or rebuild, whatever it is. The only concept you would have heard of is maybe we created a business called Redbox. It was a DVD vending business. I think it's still around at least a little bit. That came out of one of the incubators I chaired. Actually, but this is what we're talking. You know, and as I told these guys, this is not about huge tests. The tests are open book. There are projects because I want you guys to apply some of the stuff you heard here today. How do I start my own business? How do I think about raising capital? We're not an entrepreneurship class, but we are a class that says, hey, you know what? We're going to look at different franchises. Say, do I want this one? Do I not want this one? So with that, the one thing I have to have you guys have signed this. If anybody has a problem with signing it, please talk to me, but because of the schools, I am missing somebody who may not. Does that make sense? Maybe 2 people. Because otherwise I can't give him the lead if you guys don't sign it. If you don't want to sign it, let's talk about it. Hopefully you weren't in it. I don't.
Yeah, nobody was in it.
Yeah. Couple voices from afar. But it allows me under 10 rules. You won't find me and rate me your professor because I've never been a professor before. What I have done is run 30 years worth of companies, but I'm here to, I will tell you quite frankly, now I'll give the class members a break and let the rest of you guys go. I'm here to get you to the next level of success. You know, I honestly could not care. So we have 3, 6, but we have 7. So somebody is still secret. And if you don't want to use this pen, it's really good. But I appreciate you guys coming out. You know, for those not in the class, and for those in the class, tell your friends. Well, let's take 10 minutes back, and we're not going to spend the national championship game today. But I do want to go through the syllabus. Okay, so let's come back at, how about 8? I know normally we'll take a much longer break, but rather give you time to, if you want to watch the championship. So why don't we come back around 8:15 or so, and then we'll hang out for a few and go through the syllabus. And the class members, you signed this. Okay. Hey, thanks to the rest of you guys for coming. Really appreciate you doing it. These are QR codes that they said might be helpful for you. They don't mean anything. Don't forget to stop.
Okay.